Okay, everybody seated. I'm going to introduce our next speaker. Actually, he's been out here. He gave you that processing. Do you guys like the processing? Yeah. This guy is a great entertainer, actor, singer. He's John Rafanello is a Class 8 auditor, OT8. He does OT8. He does OT research, and testing with LRH. He's also a. He says here he's a Disney Imagineer. So I'll let him explain what that is. A space electronics engineer, a quantum physicist, and a very nice, fun guy. Let's welcome John over here, Rafanello.
Thank you, Ray. You know, I really want to acknowledge Katiana. She's been standing up there as the translator, and you translate this, right? For there was supposed to be a number of Russian translators, and Katiana has been taking it on all day. Let's give her. Plus, she's filming it, multi-talented. Talk about OT. Beautiful. Tell them that about you. See, she's also modest, not going to say about herself. All right, everybody, please put up your hands like this. Oh. All right, I do it, then you do it. There's duplication. Oh. The break is over. I'm here. Whoa. I am present. Whoa. Pretty cool. How would you like to be able to talk to... No, that's... Give him a hand, right? How would you be able to be Okay. How would you like to be able to talk to Ron as clearly as you talk to the person next to you? Anybody? Just two? How many would like to? Come on, let's... Imagine embracing and experiencing your ability to know anything you want to know whenever you want to know it. Imagine that. Being able to know anything you want to know whenever you want to know it. An old definition of Scientology, old has gotten to be a bad word, an early definition of Scientology was knowing how to know anything. Knowing how to know answers. By that definition, I became a Scientologist. I don't know everything, but I know how to know anything. And that's a wonderful ability. The ability to know anything you want to know whenever you want to know it. You agree? You agree? Yes. Yes. Stay. I have been blessed with so many OT experiences that it would take many hours to share them all. A number of years ago, I was standing outside the physics lab at Caltech, the California Institute of Technology in Pasadena, California, one of the most advanced, one of my favorite places to study. I was working on a doctorate paper at one point called Including Consciousness in Our General Theory of Physics. So that our consciousness, our spirit, our theta, was actually incorporated as part of the physical reality. And one day I walked outside the physics lab and was looking up at the physics lab, and all of a sudden, I knew everything that was going on. Every experiment, every person, every detail. It just came through as a gestalt. Whoop. And I went, whoa, this is cool. Everybody go, whoa, this is cool. I always loved the definition of Scientology. If it wasn't fun, it wasn't Scientology. I tried misery. I didn't like it. I tried solidity. I didn't like it. I tried shame, blame, regret, apathy. I did apathy real good. You know, it doesn't matter if John continues to talk or not. It really isn't going to make any difference anyway. If he continues, it'll be the same as if he don't, you know. Because, you know, you've been there and you've seen it all, and it really doesn't matter, you know. Apathy. What's apathy? Apathy is all the value has gone out of life. Right? You don't consider there's anything valuable anymore. What's grief? Grief is the idea that you had some value and it's gone. And you have your attention on the absence of value. My wife, my beloved Carolyn, see, I'm a very emotional person, died 2 years ago, left the body 2 years ago. When I consider that love to be absent, I fill with tears. I fill with pain. When I consider she's present, hey, Carolyn, ooh, she is here with me, I feel joy. Hey? Presence. What is fear? Fear is the idea that your value is going to go away, or that the things you want are not going to happen. You're afraid. You value your arm. If a tiger comes up, starts to tear it off, you go into terror. Why? Something valuable that you value could go away. What is anger? Anger is blaming somebody else for the value not being present. He's causing me to not get the value I want. It's assigning cause outside of self. And what is joy? Joy is the idea that the value is present. Everybody look around at the value in this room. Look at these beautiful people. How many feel better? See? Yeah. Okay, attention on value present. All right. The title of this talk is Telepathically Tuning to ETs, OTETs, and Other Realities. Tuning to ETs, OTETs, and other realities. Being able to literally tune yourself to the radio station of another person. This is an intrinsic ability that we all have. And what I want to talk about is the technology of doing that, right? I learned all of the tech from Ron. I'm pleased to say, and there's no, this is not from an ego viewpoint, it's not from an attempt to viewpoint, but Ron was my friend and still is. And he's introduced me to other ETs that exist now, and I've had an opportunity to communicate with different ETs. And I would like to invite you to do that, and that's what we're going to do in the workshop. We're going to do actual processes, actual techniques that enable you to tune. We're going to do that tomorrow. This is going to be a talk about the tech, and then we're going to actually do it. Is that okay with you? Is there anybody who doesn't want the ability to communicate with departed loved ones, ETs, ET civilizations? You can actually tune into an entire civilization. Quite amazing and magical. Let me share with you a few magical experiences. Ray, Trey, we're talking about the 2D. I always used to say, it's not a, you don't want to get a 2D. 2D is an impulse to have sex and make a family. It's an impulse, 2D. Right? What you want is a terrific person to do it with. Right? I got into Scientology with two old-timers named Louis Jordan and Jerry Dean. What were old-timers? Old-timers were people who studied under Ron and did anything they wanted to do whenever they wanted to do it. They were totally self-determined. They'd had no organizational structure, no ideas, I should, I shouldn't, I ought to, I ought not to. They did whatever they want. They learned Ron's technologies, his philosophies. They loved them. They ran them on each other. We used to audit San Francisco. We would have a process where you would do a TR0, you would fix your attention on San Francisco, hold it, and tell the history to run. Run. And the entire history of the city would run. You could see buildings being built, people coming in. You could slow it down and speed it up and see the entire history of San Francisco. It was exciting and it was fun. I was working at Continental Airlines part-time while I was going to college, putting bags on the airplane. I had replaced 4 bagmen who weren't getting the bags on the plane on time. And I developed a system to get all the bags on time. And I went to my boss and I said, do you mind if I spend time in the coffee shop if I get all the bags on the plane on time? He says, I don't care what the hell you do if you get all the bags on the plane on time. Now this was a true boss. He wasn't hour structure, he was product structured. You get the bags on, that's your job. You can do whatever the heck else you want. So I would spend up to 2 hours of my 4-hour shift in the coffee shop. And I met a gal who was the hostess of the VIP room called Liza Thomas. Everybody go, ooh, Liza Thomas. No, I got to do it with sensuality. Ooh, Liza Thomas, because that's right. Oh, you know, I was a 25-year-old virgin at the time who had not gotten a date in my life. I used to read Playboy between the covers of Scientific America, you know. And Liza was fabulous. Now, she didn't present herself as a Scientologist. She was a Hubbard certified auditor. All she did was love me, care for me, listen to my communication. It was fabulous. A beautiful female who listened to me. Whoa. This was magic. Pretty soon I was going over to her apartment in the evening. Whoa. With my visions of what would happen. Whoa. Then she gave me a book called Stranger in a Strange Land. That's what I felt like, a stranger in a strange land, written by Robert Heinlein, who was Ron Hubbard's roommate at one point in time. If you haven't read Stranger in a Strange Land, please do. It's all about an OT, a person from Earth who becomes trained by the Martian elders and becomes very powerful. Okay. Then one day, when it looked like I was really going to arrive with Liza Thomas, ooh, she said to me, how would you like to go to a love, sex, and marriage seminar? And I went, whoa, hey, bring it on. She said, my boyfriend is going to be giving it. I didn't know she had a boyfriend. That was my introduction on the 1st and the 2nd of May, 1965, in a home in the valley. Louie's wife, a very delightful, very alive gal, ran the first process that had ever been run on me in my life. Louie invented it. He later got declared for it. She sat down for me and she asked me, what wanted sexual conditions are not present? It's a young girl sitting in front of a 25-year-old virgin who had not gotten a date in his life asking me what sexual conditions were not present. I turned about 5 shades of red. My vagus stomach nerves pulsed up to about 600 cycles per second. Blood started pumping through my system, and I got up the courage and I said, I'm a virgin, I've never had any sex. And I was ready for all of the judgment and the attack and the embarrassment that would come back. And she said, okay. I went, okay? It's not okay, but okay. It was okay with her. Whoa. Wow. She didn't judge me. She didn't invalidate me. She didn't think I was a nerd, which I was. She continued the process going earlier and earlier. It was 2 commands. What wanted sexual conditions are not present? What present sexual conditions are not wanted? And then earlier, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I blew so far out of my ever-loving gourd that, you know, the gourds are those ugly things that you get into, you know. You call it keyed out OT. I had the most expansive blowout I'd ever experienced up to that point in my life. 2 days of it. You went over the tone scale. Louis talked about sex across the dynamics, sex across the tone scale. It was fantastic. I was flying on cloud 4,765. I was way out. That night I had to work. I went to Continental Airlines. It was a Sunday night, the 2nd of May, 1965. And I was all excited, and I wanted to share all this with Liza. She was working as the hostess, and I'm sitting there just, whoa, whoa. Everybody go, whoa. Come on, you can actually do that. Whoa, oh, ooh, yeah, oh, you know. Right, remember last blowout, you know, kill, oh, yeah. I got to tell Liza this. I got to tell Liza that. She didn't show up. I'm sitting there in a coffee shop. Where is she? Everybody go, where is she? So I thought, you know what I know what I'll do. I'll run on myself one of the processes that I got run on in the seminar. I wonder how early you could get. So here I am sitting in a coffee shop, auditing myself. Anyway, a coffee shop auditing, Ron says that's sometimes the best auditing. I kept going earlier and earlier and earlier. I went, whoa. 5 years old. Everybody, whoa. Whoa, 2 years old. Whoa, 6 months old. Oh my God, a month old. And I popped into my mother's womb with a perception far greater than I am seeing you right now. Totally blew me away. I went, whoa, and I popped out of it. I'm sitting in the airlines with 2 emotions going. Total terror, oh my God, and total excitement. It would be years until I learned that excitement and terror are the same energy. When you assign a negative meaning to the energy, it becomes fear. And when you assign a positive meaning to the energy, it becomes excitement. I was blown away. Everybody say, John was blown away. John was blown away. No, come on. John was blown away. Yeah. Ooh. I walked out into the lobby of Continental Airlines, looked at someone like I'm looking at my good friend Corky Frank Peacock right now, and I could hear them think verbally as if they were talking to me out loud. I could hear every word as if they were saying it out loud that they were thinking. I looked at another person. I could hear every word that they were thinking. I looked at another one. Every person I looked at, I could hear their thoughts. I went, whoa. Everybody go, whoa. That was my introduction to Scientology. When I was a kid, thank you. Yeah, go, I'll take it. When I was a kid, I used to sneak into the Cameo Theater, the big, elegant theater in my hometown in Bristol, Connecticut, to see Disney movies. I didn't want the kids to see me. You know, I was a little bit too old for the kids to think, you're going to a Disney movie. You know, they're going to invalidate you. You know, you're going to go see Cinderella. You know, that kind. Yeah, I wanted to see the fairy godmother. Whoa, look at this, poof, and things happen. And I would go see Sinbad flying on his carpet. And I figured maybe if I could get my carpet to fly, I could get some girls to come on the carpet, and away we'd go, you know. So that became one of my goals. Trey was talking about goals. That became a goal. It was the goal to become OT, to become my total self. I didn't know that that was even possible, but I figured if you learned enough science, that was my orientation then, maybe you could get a carpet off the ground. Synchronistically, that led me to Ron's technology, Ron's know-how. I ended up in the Los Angeles org on level 0. When I was in college, for some reason, I was a mathematical wizard. If any of you have ever seen Good Will Hunting. Every problem that the professors had, I would work. I remember a professor in my school going, or in a class saying, anybody work problem 27? He would assign a problem knowing that everyone would fail so he could gloat. And he would look over the class and go, anybody work 27? You know, with that sneer. And I would pause a little and I'd raise my hand. And he'd go, yes, Mr. Rafanello, you work 27? Yes, sir. Would you like to come up and show me? Yes. And I'd come up to the board and demonstrate, skipping several steps just to caress my ego. At the end of my senior year, I was flunking a course that was necessary in order to graduate. Strangely enough, a course called Communication Circuits. Had to do with the design of electronic circuits. All the courses had been based on the mathematics. I was a straight A student, totally effortless for the first 2 years. No effort, no struggle, came totally natural. Somehow I was connected to that portion of my OT-ness. And then, as my south year, my grades started going down until I was eventually flunking a course I needed to graduate. And then I got into Scientology. About 2 weeks before, talk about synchronicity, I did the Love, Sex, and Marriage about 2 weeks before I was to graduate, and then went into the academy. And I picked up a bulletin, the very first bulletin of Ron's that I read said, Scientology 0 study, you know, it was about study. And I read this line, in order to learn anything, 2 things are at once necessary. 1, there must be something to learn. And I thought, my God, I'm paying money for this course? In order to learn anything, there must be something to learn? Whoa! Whoopee-doo, who the heck is this Hubbard guy, you know? Oh. And in my great tolerance, my ego allowed me to read the next line. I will be tolerant of this person. All right, I'll read it again. In order to learn anything, two things are at once necessary. There must be something to learn. Yeah, right. 2, you must have the idea you don't know it all already. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Everybody go, oh my God. And I did. I was going, oh! All of a sudden my whole college passed before my eyes. That's what happened. The professors were coming to me to work the problems. What did they have to teach me? I had made a mental computation. They had nothing. I've learned it. They're coming to me to work the problems. They have nothing to teach me. Right? I know it all already. And all my grades started going down. I started screaming to the course supervisor, have you seen this in the bulletin? You seen what it says, you know? Oh, she thought I must have been nuts, you know. I said, this is incredible. You obviously don't understand the magnitude of this. I was thrilled with Ron's Tech. Thrilled every day. I was driving 140 miles in a blue Buick 1951 Bullitt Studebaker. It was a car that looks like a bullet coming and going. I bought it for $50 from a fellow student. Drove it at 140 miles an hour. I worked at the Space Systems Division of Douglas Aircraft on the moon rocket. That was my first job. Traveled to Inglewood and then went to the Academy of Ron's. Traveled 80 to 90 miles an hour in the 4th lane, and there was never any traffic in the lane. There was traffic in all the other lanes. One day I pulled into the gas station, and the attendant came up and he said, would you like me to check your oil? I was getting that was when they filled the car up with gas. You know, you didn't have to do it yourself. And I went, oil? Cars have oil? Yeah, I guess they do. I said, sure. I didn't want to stop the guy from doing what he wanted to do. You know, check my oil. Go ahead. He opened the hood, and he was under the hood for quite a period of time. And he came back, and he came back with the most surprised look on his face. I said, what's the matter? He said, that car won't run. I said, what do you mean it won't run? He said, it won't run. It has no compression. I said, oh, I didn't know about cars. My brother knows about cars. I don't know. I said, oh, did it need any oil? He said, no. I said, okay, thanks. And he closed the hood, and I went zooming up the ramp onto the freeway. I could see him in the rearview mirror going, oh! One day I was coming back from Douglas at 90 miles an hour, 93 miles an hour. And I thought to myself, you got to realize I was so blown out with Ron's Tech. I thought to myself, you know, I've been violating the speed limit now for several months. It's time I got a ticket. And immediately, honest to God, simultaneous with the thought, I looked in the rearview mirror and a cop pulled me over. I was thrilled. I was thrilled. I rolled down the window and he looked kind of conservative and he said, you were doing 84. I said, I was doing 93. He said, what do you got in that thing? I know, just the standard, you know, engine. He gave me a ticket for 1 mile over the speed limit. Because that's what they charged you for each mile. One day I was on course in the academy on the grades, auditor grade 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I had a huge gestalt. Everybody go, whoa. Another huge gestalt. I went, whoa, I was wheeling. Everybody do this, whoa. I was blown out. I went, oh my God. My space encompassed everything that was. I call my car Betsy. Every car I've ever had, I call her Betsy because the spirit is Betsy, and whatever car body I got, she joins me. I got into the car, zoomed up onto the freeway, zipped over into the 4th lane of the freeway, accelerated to 94 miles an hour, and went, what the hell? I looked around. I was in Inglewood, 40 miles away. The car had instantly disappeared from one location and reappeared 40 miles away. Not bad. I used to study it in my mind. Did that really happen, or did you go to sleep? Ooh. Well, there's this curve that connects the Santa Monica Freeway with the 405 that goes around, and I used to take it at 90 miles an hour, and you had to be in present time. Because anytime I wasn't in present time, I missed the turnoff. And I was down the Pacific Coast Highway, and I had to come back. So I knew that it actually happened. That was the first transition experience. Then I was the highest statistics student in the LA Academy at that time. And I met a girl, by the way, after the Love, Sex, and Marriage course, seminar, girls were asking me for dates. I was no longer a 25-year-old virgin. And I was going out with this beautiful, wonderful, fabulous soulmate, Virginia Lang, Ginny Lang, platinum blonde, oh, Ginny. And she was a student also, so George Q., the ethics officer, called me in, and I was thrown out of Scientology for the first time. It was said that I had to go to St. Hill in England and get my Power and Power Plus processing, or I would not be allowed to go on in Scientology. So I went, oh my God, how am I going to do that? I'm broke. I spent all my money on courses in processing with a field auditor, Jerry. That's another incredible story. So many miracles there. After I audited, he audited me on the grades. And I went out with this girl that he introduced me after completing grade 4 with a field auditor. Went out on a date with her. We had a wonderful time. At about 11 o'clock at night, I noticed that I had consumed 12 White Russians. That's vodka and Kahlua. And I was sober. Cold, sober. I went back to my auditor and went, what did you do? You ruined my ability to get drunk. I was mad. The next day I spent the night with Jenny. I got up in the morning. She had orange juice and milk and coffee and water. And I went, what's going on here with this? And all of a sudden, I realized that I had gotten a new ability. I had gotten an ability to be drunk or not at will. I picked up the water, sipped the water with the postulate that I would get drunk, and in 2 sips, I was rolling around like this. And then I went, I'll drink the milk, and I'll be sober, and I was sober. On and off. Nice ability. The grades, by the way, I always audited to the abilities. Ron said they're to the ability. It's the ability gained that is the key. Competence is senior to case gain. Is the person getting competent? Right? So I raised the money. I went to my grandmother Nellie Pratt, who had never lent anybody in the family any money under any circumstances, at any time, anywhere, no reason, nothing. And told her I want $6,840 to go to England and do the briefing course and to get my power in power processing, and she lent me the money. And the night before I was to leave on the airline, I got on my bullet Studebaker, went over into the 4th lane of the freeway, accelerated to 94 miles an hour with the idea, I'm going to St. Hill. Thank you, Betsy. I'm going to have to leave you here. That's my car. The engine blew up and 4 tires blew out instantaneously. And I left her at the side of the road. Walked home and went to England. Got my power processing, got on the briefing course. Got an old English stick Ford, this one with the bucket seats and the stick shift between them. Had a ball with that car. One day there was listening to a lecture on the briefing course called Axiom 10. Ron talked about an electronic anchor point system, a series of gold balls that existed inside and outside the body, and that if you could shift one of the balls, you could bend the arm here rather than at the elbow. I thought, whoa, wouldn't that be cool for parties? You know, all right? I got all excited, right? Well, he said the elbow was a genetic excuse for the reason that the arm bent there. You know, whoa. Well, that night, Ginny Lang, who was living in a town called Crawley, we were in East Grinstead in England. She was in Crawley. I had to go pick her up for her clear check. She was coming in for her clear check, and I went, whoa. So I picked her up, and there was another girl that came with her. I don't remember the girl, but she was in the back seat. Ginny was on the right side of me. And we went tearing back from Crawley to East Grinstead to the college. And we came through East Grinstead, and there's this hill that goes down real steep, hits the bottom, goes by a beautiful sheep farm, really cool. Then up through the gorge, and it cuts through, the road cuts through a gorge. Am I cutting off? I got to come to an end? Okay. It's the most intensely beautiful gorge. There's all rocks there, and the trees are growing out of roots of entangled trees. It's magical. I came tearing down the road, went up the road, and there was a big English truck, a lorry, creeping over the top of the hill. I didn't think anything of it. I thought I just passed the car. All of a sudden, I realized I was going 40 miles an hour. He was doing about 2 miles an hour. And the car would not go through the space if it was half the size. Instantly, 2 gold balls appeared in the air outside the car. Crystal clear, brilliant gold balls. And I went, ah, the anchor points. I grabbed them with an intention, pulled them together, and the dimensions of the car went, wow! Ginny, who was over here, came screaming over on my lap. The car went through the space, wow, and returned to its normal size and went down the hill. Ray says I've got to finish up. But we're going to do a workshop tomorrow. Don't worry. I've had a car pass through a car with another person when we were studying the doctorate tapes. Had a car come up on the back of us as we were going to a movie. The car literally passed through our car and out the other side of it. A gal that I was auditing on OT levels and OT drills. Then I had my entire life pass by. You hear that, what you say when someone dies, their life passes by? I had every single incident in this life go by. Crystal clear. Clearer than when they happened. They didn't go by in a blur. They clicked by one. They all went by. Those experiences were the least exciting OT experiences that I've had. The least exciting. I connected into a love so incredible, so amazing, that there was no concept that anything could get any better. It was pure ecstasy, living ecstasy. No want of anything, pure joy. No idea it could get better, and then it got better. The story of how I came to learn how to telepathically communicate is a wild and interesting story. I don't have the time to go into it in all detail. Some of it's on my internet site. But it's exciting. All I wanted to say is this, to conclude, and I'll get off the stage. We are, as Ron said, OT. Everybody say, we are OT. We are just pretending that we are not. Say it, we are just pretending that we are not. Right? One of my favorite quotes of Ron's is, the greatest pretense is that it isn't all a pretense. We are pretending the reality into existence. I've been blessed to experience this. In the workshop tomorrow, I'm going to give you some exercises that are designed to assist you to have those experiences. Since you're in the free zone, it's okay. All it has to be now is okay with you. Okay? Okay with you. Okay, thank you very much. Now, no, don't applaud yet. I want to make one last statement, but thank you for the impulse. Just remember now, after all is said and done, there's nothing left to say or do. Bye-bye.